Good morning, children. Welcome to class 6. Today we are going to start the first chapter of history. What, where, how and when. What, where, how and when. In this chapter there is a question. One girl, Rashida, while she is reading the newspaper, suddenly she felt that something is written there on a small headline 100 years ago. She felt that she wondered how we can know about what happened so many years. 100 years ago, what can be done or what had done? How do we find out? It was her question. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about the Rashida's question. Many years ago or in the past or in the ancient period, what happened? How do we get the idea and how do we know that? So here there are many things about the past we can understand. We know that we are studying through our textbooks. Many of the books we get the idea, especially in history, what the ancient period people have done and how the people lived. All these things we are getting the knowledge now. Many things we can find out, what people ate and what kind of clothes they wore and what type of houses they lived. All this we can find out. But how? The hunters, people lived as hunters. Okay, they were the hunter-gatherers. Ancient period, they lived the life of hunter-gatherers. They did not cultivate crops. And they were herders, herding the animals. Also farmers were there. Many rulers also. Merchants, priests, craft persons, artists, musicians and scientists. These all people lived in the past. So we can also find out about the games what the children played and the stories they heard, all these songs they sang, etc. etc. And where did the people live? That also we can find out. We know that our country, India, the ancient period, many people lived on the river banks. Especially two important rivers are there. River Indus flowing through Pakistan and river Ganga flowing through our country. These are the two important rivers. People lived on the banks of these rivers. Now let us see here how the people lived along the banks of the many rivers. Many hundred and thousands of years ago, people lived on the banks of rivers. For example, we will say some of the earliest people who lived were skilled gatherers. Gatherers means they only gathered fruits or vegetables and roots or whatever the forest products available. They did not cultivate crops. Okay, they did not grow crops. They only gathered, which means they collected only. And from their surrounding forest, mostly they lived in the forest region. So they collected fruits and vegetables whatever available in the forest region. Also they hunted animals. But where did they live during this period? We will study that the northwestern part of India, now the present day Pakistan. Also there are some hills which are the Suleiman and Kirta hills in the northwest. That is now in the present day Pakistan. People lived these regions and about 8,000 years ago they had grown some of the crops also. Especially wheat and barley they cultivated about 8,000 years ago in this locality, in this region. Also they began to rearing animals, especially like a sheep and goat, some of the cattle, and they began to live in villages. Afterwards, their lifestyle has changed. In the beginning they were the hunter-gatherers. They began to grow crops and they began to settle on the river banks and they began to live collectively together. Earlier we know that they were nomads moving from one place to another. Now they started settled life. Okay, and on the north direction we can find in India now the river Ganga and Yamuna flowing. Another important river Ganga, Yamuna flowing. On the northwest we know the Indus river flowing. Indus river in Sanskrit this is also known as Sindhu river. And north west we can find Indus river and its tributaries. Tributaries means the smaller rivers or the branches of a main river. So northwest Indus river and its tributaries make these regions are very fertile, so that people settled on the river banks in the beginning. About 4,700 years ago, some of the earliest cities were flourished on the banks of these rivers. Many cities were flourished or set up in the on the banks of these rivers. Later on, about 2,500 years, these cities were developed on the banks of Ganga and Yamuna. So earlier, about 4,700 years ago, many cities were set up on the or established on the banks of river Indus. Later on, about 2,500 years, on the banks of river Ganga and Yamuna, some other cities were set up on the bank of river Ganga. So here in the ancient times, the area along these rivers, the south of Ganga was known as Magadha, which is in the Bihar region. It became a powerful kingdom. The rulers of Magadha set up a powerful kingdom. We know that the region of Bihar, Magadha, is the kingdom which was established in the present day Bihar. A large kingdom was set up in this area. Throughout the people traveled from one part to the other part. We know that many people were travelers or the nomads. They moved from one place to another. There were many hills and high mountains, including the Himalayas in the north. Okay, there are deserts in the northwestern part of our country, and many rivers are also flowing through our country. These all made the journey very difficult and dangerous. And for traveling to other countries, we had to travel by the seas also. So all these journeys were very impossible. So men and women moved collectively, not alone. People traveled in a group, in a caravan. Caravan means with their animals, and people traveled in a group. Also, many purposes were there. They wanted to find out new places. Some people were adventurous, and some people they also wanted to find out new places. Some of them wanted to do the business. That means some of them were merchants who traveled from one place to another in order to sell their products. Also, they wanted to buy the new goods and sell their products. These people traveled from one place to another. Adventurous people wanted to find out new places. They were very excited to find new places so that they can, all these movements began to lead sharing the ideas between people. So whatever the ideas we had, our ideology were shared with the people in the new places.